I'm Matt.
I'm Shane.
And if you like what you hear, make sure you hit that thumbs up button real hard, and make sure you subscribe to Comic Movie Marks.
And also click that little bell for all of the notifications.
Whee!
Always remember,
If Trailer Trash can do it,
anyone can do it.
hello and welcome everyone to another Comic Movie Marks video.
Kevin Feige apparently thinks DC should follow Richard Donner's Superman path. So we're going to read a quick article from Heroic Hollywood written by Carlos Shimon. Like, you know, the Michael Jackson? Yeah. Shimon!
Ever play Moonwalker? Anyway.
Oh, that's a fucking hard game. Hilarious, though.
Just blew everybody's mind. There's a Michael Jackson game?
Yeah, exactly. And I actually watched this one video, little side thing here, about someone making fun of the fact that Michael Jackson, like, through the whole game, he's like, you have to save kids, and then they, like, walk up to him and like, disappear or something like that. I can't remember like the full thing, but I know you save little kids and then they walk up to you and then they like disappear and then somehow their power becomes yours or some shit like that. And I remember watching this video of someone making fun of it, like might have been the angry video game nerd, and he's like, what's going on here? What's happening to all these little children? Anyway. I am a Michael Jackson fan, just throwing that out there. I did think it was kind of funny. Anyways, so back onto the Heroic Hollywood article. So Carlos writes, Marvel Studios' massive success cannot be understated. An immense serialized cinematic universe is no easy feat, and so it is no wonder that Kevin Feige would be at the receiving end of questions surrounding the similar cinematic universes. None, by the way, which have even come close to the success Marvel Studios have achieved.
There's a reason why we're reading this full article.
Yes, exactly. It's not super long. It's just entertaining. Specifically, Marvel's only would-be rival, DC, have failed to match up to the success of the Marvel flicks despite having much more popular characters. Icons such as Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and even Aquaman are renowned worldwide, as opposed to the recent rise of popularity of characters like Captain America and Thor.
Fuck Mickey Mouse. Fuck him in the asshole with a big rubber dick. Then break it off and beat him with the rest of it. And dies lonely and forgotten behind the baseboard of a soiled bathroom in a poor neighborhood with his hand in Goofy's pants.
So how would Kevin Feige run the DC film division? It's no surprise that the humble, down-to-earth producer would hold back on voicing his opinion and instead give a very political answer to avoid conflict. The implication, however, of his response is very understated, as he recognizes that he believes the path every comic book film, not just DC's, should follow is Richard Donner's Superman. And now the quote from Kevin Feige, he says, I always hesitate to come off as the person who is bestowing advice on people. It's not really what I do. What I do know is they're great characters. They're good comics. They've got great history. I'm not shy about saying Richard Donner's Superman, I still think, is the paradigm by which we all still should follow. It's all there.
Wrong! Apparently this guy really likes Kevin Feige. I don't know if he quite got that vibe from this or not. There's a reason why we read that whole thing, because holy crap, man.
This guy apparently loves everything that Marvel has done and Kevin Feige as well.
Dude, Kevin Feige is fucking God to this guy, apparently. I guess we'll talk about the quote. I was just more laughing at this whole fucking article, how bad it was. Like, I don't know how you could call yourself a fucking article writer when you write like that, when you might as well be Dear Diary. The humble, down-to-earth producer, Kevin Feige.
Oh, man. To his defense, the one thing I will say is I have listened to a podcast with Kevin Feige kind of talking about how he, worked his way up through the ranks and whatnot. And he does come across humble and down-to-earth. However, I don't think that's something you should be putting in essentially an unbiased article. In my opinion, it should be pretty unbiased. You're providing the information, not your opinion on how great Kevin Feige is.
And how the would-be DC just can't match up. to my almighty crush, Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios. So anyway, to the quote. We'll talk about the quote. The reason why this is obviously wrong is because, again, people just live in the past. And of course this would come from a guy that's basically produced 19 films that are super formulaic and almost all the same. Of course he would say that you need to base yourself off of one type of movie, basically move from there and make all your movies just like that one.
Which in a way he kind of does. Like if you were to compare the MCU and the Donner Supermans, despite the fact we did just record our Donner Cut episode.
August of 2018.
Yeah, exactly. Coming soon. We just recorded the audio for it, so we're kind of making sure that everything's finalized. But Richard Donner talks about he wanted a more serious approach and ended up being sort of campy. You know, I think with the Richard Lester stuff that was thrown in there, and that's something that people do forget. However, if you were to look at the original Superman films and the MCU movies, they're pretty close. Pretty close in style, probably in color. You know, I could see where Kevin Feige is, the direction he wanted to go with the MCU. And he also used to work for Richard Donner, so it's not too surprising. He was a grad student originally, and he was kind of an assistant, I think mainly of Donner's wife, and then also Donner himself. He worked at Warner Brothers, and then eventually left and I believe worked on the X-Men movies.
And he worked on X-Men, Fantastic Four,
yeah,
Spider-Man. He worked on all those Marvel movies.
Yeah, and then eventually, you know, obviously the MCU and things like that. But you can see when he finally got creative control where the direction he wanted to go. So he's basically saying, and how I'm interpreting it is interpreting.
Yeah, I don't think interpretation.
Interpreting. Fuck.
There you go.
So how
I like interpreting. I'm interpreting.
Call 1-800-ABCDEFG.
I'm trying to finish this. Fuck it, just leave it in. How I'm interpreting it is that he is basically saying DC should follow the MCU's path, and it should replicate it. Have it fun, campy, light, jokes after jokes, you know, and very formulaic. That's how I'm reading the quote. Take it for what you will.
Yeah, and again, this is just that lack of understanding what Superman really is. Is like we've talked about in our other Snyder Myths episode, it's a comic book character. There's 80 years of Superman, and I'm not saying that now Superman has to be like the Snyder version, even though I really like the Snyder version, and I would even like Snyder to come back and do an MOS too. I really would, but again, if we did get a new Superman, I don't want them to go backwards. I don't want them to go to the Donner one, and I don't want anybody trying to replicate Snyder's either without it being Snyder. Now pick a different type of Superman. Fine, there's tons of fucking comics. Figure it out. Like, come up with a different version. There's so many different versions. 80 years of Superman, and we're trying to limit it down to one fucking era. One small era of fucking Superman. It baffling to me how everybody just goes back to that over and over again.
I would love to see someone do, and then this would take all the pressure off of Zack Snyder. But I would love to see someone do the Golden Age Superman and bring him to life, because he basically like a bank robber dies, and Superman's like, well, that's what he gets for trying to like hold up these people or whatever the fuck. I can't remember the exact comic strip, but he basically dies, and Superman's like, well, that's what he gets. So fuck off. Like, that would be so fantastic if someone brought that to life. Imagine you would make Snyder's Superman look like Christopher Reeves.
So again, I would like someone, I don't want like someone like Matthew Vaughn who says you need to go back to the Donner version and make him more comic accurate when we obviously know that's wrong. That's saying that version of Superman is the only comic accurate version of Superman is just completely wrong. And even Matthew Vaughn says it would be a boring version of Superman. Right. He said that. Remember that? He said that. And I was like, wow, Warner Brothers probably just leaping in there to sign you right away, dude. After you say, it's going to be boring.
I can't wait. I'm still waiting for the Ultimate Warrior mullet Superman to be released. I'd fucking love that.
There's Red Sun Superman. Fuck, let's get a full commie Superman. Let's do it. Fuck yeah.
Oh yeah, that'll go over well.
Hell yeah. Everybody's in peace right now, right? Relations are good with everybody. Let's do some fucking weird shit.
Sure, exactly. Elseworld stuff. I think it'd be fantastic.
Hell yeah. Let's get fucking screw it. Let's do Injustice. Let's have Superman fucking ice the shit out of Joker.
Oh man.
And then just start murdering superheroes.
I would love that. Could you imagine? You think that Snyder has pushed the envelope now, which he hasn't, by the way, but people think that. Holy shit, could you imagine if he did the Injustice storyline? What the fuck? Man. That's not comic accurate. Well, it's literally from a comic.
I can't remember exactly how he does it, but how he kills fucking Captain Marvel, how he kills Shazam. I'm pretty sure he either chokes him to death or he hits him with heat vision in his brain. Remember. I can't remember exactly how he kills him, but it's hardcore. It's hardcore how he fucking kills him, and I can't exactly remember at this point. But yeah, that'd be fucking cool. Zachary Levi getting choked out.
Man. Yeah, that'd be fantastic. Another similar storyline that they actually did an animated, small portion of the Superman animated series that kind of based off of this, and they may have done an animated film. Can't really recall, but when he basically puts everyone under his rule, like the entire world, and it's him and Lex Luthor running the entire world. You need my help, and you can't save yourselves, and I can't be everywhere all the time, so I'm just gonna give you all these rules, and it's pretty fucking awesome. I would love to see that live action.
Good times. But hey, let's all go back to the Donner one. God
yeah,
damn.
Exactly. All these different versions.
Just completely missing the idea of what a comic book character is. In case I don't see you.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. You're one of very few to make it to the end.
Yes, thank you very much.
Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to Comic Movie Marks Podcast and hit the notification bell. All these fucking YouTube channels say this shit, so I'm going to say it now.
Yes, it's perfect. And if you want to hear our full podcast, you can check out our podcast on iTunes or any other podcast subscription service.
Make sure you subscribe. Thanks again.